Hi everyone. So I'm here to talk to you about Ruth today. And when I think about Ruth, I think there are just so many rich, wonderful characteristics about her that we can talk about for ages. So I was actually wondering and praying, Lord, what is it that you want me to share about Ruth? And when I read through Ruth this time, I was just so inspired by a few things. The first is that Ruth had a real impact on other people's lives. They were encouraged by her, but they were also encouraged in their own walk. Just looking at Naomi, when they first came to Bethlehem, Ruth and Naomi was in a real sorrowful state. She was really despairing and she felt that God had deserted her because she'd lost everything. And in chapter 2, Naomi, when she hears about the favor that Ruth has received, she's uplifted and she says, wow, the Lord has not left us and he will bless us. And her, it's a complete turnaround in her own walk with God. And this is because of Ruth's faithfulness and her hard work that she received this favor from Boaz when she was gleaning in the fields. And her walk and her integrity led Naomi to completely be encouraged and turned around in her own attitude towards the Lord. Ruth's reputation preceded her. People would talk about her and talk about her hard work. At the end of the book, Naomi's friends say to her, Ruth is better than 7 sons that you could have had. And it's just amazing that her impact of her own walk, the impact that it has had on other people's lives. So be encouraged. Sometimes we may not be aware of it, but our own walk, just in the daily walk of strength and integrity and hard work, other people can see the favor of God in their own lives through you. The second thing that really struck me about Ruth is that she didn't have, as far as we know, she didn't have a promise from God for here on earth. So when we look at other heroes in the Bible, like Abraham was told by God that he would have so many children. Moses was told that he would be the one to help get God's people out of Egypt. Joseph was given dreams at a really young age, dreams of power and reign. And David was anointed as king at such a young age. And all of these endured hardship, and they trusted in God, but they had this earthly promise to look forward to as well. Ruth didn't have that. She, as far as we knew, she wasn't given any promise, but yet she walked this walk of trust and of faith and of integrity. And some of us may be in that place of, I don't have this big dream or this big promise that God has given me. But even in that, God sees you. And even in that, God watches every part of your life and he will bless you. He will favor you just as he did Ruth. The third thing that strikes me about Ruth is her steadfastness in faith, her steadfastness in faithfulness, just the way she walked. I mean, it starts at the beginning when she just committed herself to Naomi for out of no kind of obligation. Naomi was literally saying, just go. You have a much better chance of a good life if you're in your homeland. But she just decided, no, I'm going to be with you. And and even in her work with Boaz, she just went for it and she worked hard and people noticed. And Naomi was favored because of her. She just went out. She went above and beyond to work hard, to walk in integrity, and to just do the small things in her daily life with such goodness, with such care and such love that everyone noticed that and they saw it. There was a steadfastness in her spirit. I've been reading Psalm 37 recently, which is a Psalm of David. And it's amazing because David is Ruth's great grandson. And I'd like to think that when he wrote the Psalm, he was thinking of her. I don't know that, but I'd like to think that because it says in Psalm 37, in the first couple of verses, it says, trust in the Lord and do good. Dwell in the land and befriend faithfulness. Or some versions say, feast on his faithfulness. Delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of the heart. And when I read these verses, I thought, wow, Ruth lives out these verses. She not only did good, Orpah also offered to stay with Naomi, but then after a little bit of coercion, she decided to go back. They both wanted to do good, but Ruth trusted in the Lord and did good. It was almost like she could inherently see that God had a place for her. She was called to go to this land. She dwelt in a land that was not her own. It says, dwell in the land and befriend faithfulness. She received the faithfulness of God when she dwelt in the land. She worked there. She worked among the people. She lived there. She put roots down. She served her mother-in-law. And it says, delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. And I truly think we don't know what Ruth's desires were. We don't know if she desired to have a husband. But God gave her probably more than she was asking for and more than she desired. Later on in the same psalm, it says this: the steps of a man or a woman are established by the Lord when he delights in his way. So when we delight in the Lord's ways, he orders our steps. And it's amazing to think that that God had completely ordered every step of Ruth's. You could see it. You look back from at the beginning of the book and you can see, God had a hand in this. God had a hand in her coming back to Bethlehem. And it says, though he fall, he shall not be cast headlong, for the Lord upholds his hand. So even though we might be in really dire circumstances, even though we may be in a situation that's really not looking good for us, just like when Ruth and Naomi were heading back to Bethlehem, God has a plan for us and he upholds our hand. So be encouraged. I'm so encouraged by Ruth right now, and I hope that you are too.